You're now listening to All Hog Sports, covering all Arkansas Razorback sports, such as football, basketball, baseball, and much more. Now, here's your host for today's show, Sam Stimson.
Now, a quick step away from the football previews, because as it's in the name, All Hog Sports is covering all hog sports. This year, we're going even more than we did last year. I want to start covering each sport every few weeks. Better updates, better quality, everything. Nevertheless, starting it off with soccer. SEC Coach of the Year Colby Hale has revived the soccer program here at Arkansas. In a scrimmage against University of Arkansas Little Rock, they won 5-0. However, their official season record is 0-2, and they were ranked number 13 and then dropped out of the rankings. However, I would not be concerned at all. They had a 3-1 loss at number 6 Duke. Duke offense was just too good to stop. They were up 1-0, and then they ended up losing that game. Hannah Warner in net had 7 saves, a really good game from her, but that Duke offense just kept getting shots off and kept scoring. And then a 1-0 overtime loss at number 3 North Carolina. There was a long delay in overtime, and then UNC won on penalty shots. Coach Colby Hill said they're not happy with the loss, but the team got better, and that's what's important to remember. I'm not concerned about the team dropping out of the top 25. I mean, just a few weeks ago, they were picked to win the SEC. I still think that's a very realistic expectation. Next game is August 30th, so next Monday. It is at home, too. They take on number 24 BYU, and this is a good opportunity for a ranked win. BYU was number 15 before they lost to Auburn, but they beat the Ohio State University. Like I said, though, this soccer team is picked to win the SEC. They're the co-favorite among the preseason poll, along with Texas A&M. Last season, Texas A&M and Arkansas shared the title, but when they play head-to-head, Arkansas won 2-1, so of course, there's a cosign there because that's how the rules work, but really, we know who should have won the SEC regular season championship. Colby Hill has won a tremendous 15 wins in the last 2 seasons in the SEC. That's the most wins total out of any program or coach. And then 2 losses and 1 tie. SEC play, though, starts September 17th with Tennessee at home. Now, the SEC doesn't do like preseason first team, second team for soccer. They do SEC preseason watch list, and ton of hogs on this list. You got Parker Goins returning from last year, and then alongside Anna Potagil. These are the 2 girls that will be the main focus of the team's just success, offense, defense, you name it. Some of the best players in college soccer and Razorback soccer are those 2. And then last season, they were actually named to the All-Region Team of the South by the Coaches Association. And then you got Taylor Malham, Brianna Hunter, and then Kayla McKeon. Last season, she was out due to injury, but in 2019, she was a second-team All-American. And then also on that SEC preseason watch list is a transfer from Louisville, Jessica D. Filippo. So yeah, Colby Hill brought in a lot of talent this offseason to replace the people that are going to be leaving this year, such as Goins and Potagil. It's kind of interesting because in soccer you can get drafted and then go back to college, but then sign with your professional team after, and that's what Potagil is doing. So yeah, I think the key thing on this season is just to improve on last season. Lots of returners. You got one of the best 1-2 threats in America with Goins and Potagil. So just utilize that, win games. Like I said, not too worried about the 0-2 start because you're playing some of the best teams in the nation. Now moving on to volleyball. The team was picked number 5 in the SEC coaches preseason poll. 14-8 record in 2020. That's the most conference wins for this volleyball program since 2003. And as expected, the coach was named to the SEC Coach of the Year. Jason Watson took home that award. Now, the best player on this team, in my opinion, is Jillian Gillen. The junior led the team in kills last season with 322, and then service aces at 38. In the Coaches Association, she was named to the All-South region. Now, the SEC Freshman of the Year, Taylor Head, returns for her sophomore year. She had a case to be one of the best players as a freshman across all of the NCAA, 242 kills and 263 bigs, second on the team, and then 13 double-doubles as well. Very impressive numbers on offense and defense there. Gracie Ryan also returns as a setter. And then Abigail Arkibong, key transfer, had double-digit blocks in a single game. Very good middle blocker for Jason Watson and this team. They lost 5 seniors in the offseason, but signed 4 freshmen. If you take a look around the conference, you got the national champion Kentucky team picked number 1 to win the conference. And then for their schedule, their first game is actually today against UA Pine Bluff. And the first 250 students get t-shirts according to @RazorbackVB on Twitter. Make sure to follow all the school's social media accounts just because they give good updates and such. But pop out to that. And then LSU starts their SEC games. They play LSU at home on September 22nd for that SEC opener. They played 1 game so far in exhibition and beat Missouri State 3-1. The last 2 sets were a score of 25-21. I expect this program to finish somewhere around number 4, number 5 in the SEC. Jason Watson has arguably done one of the best jobs here at Arkansas in terms of rebuilding a program. And I think it's interesting because volleyball was one of these sports that Arkansas wasn't ranked last year. I think it was like 17 out of 19 sports Arkansas was ranked in during the whole season. It was football and then volleyball. I think volleyball might have cracked the top 25 once, but I think Jason Watson could get him back up there. Done a fantastic job ever since he's been hired here, and just, the culture with Yurchek and everything just speaks volume to what he's been able to do. Now, outside of football, which I've been previewing for multiple episodes, is cross country in the fall. The Frank O'Mara Center has just opened, top of the art center for track and field. Nothing like it across America. And this just shows volumes of how Hunter Yurchek is invested in the Arkansas sports programs and wants to get things even better when have won the SEC Triple Crown and have won SEC Women's Cross Country Championship for 8 years in a row, going on the 9th year. And the preseason poll, the Hogs got 10 out of 14 first place votes. It should be noted that you can't vote for yourself in these polls. I wonder if the Hogs will go for the Triple Crown again in outdoor, indoor track and field, and then cross country for both men's and women's. They could certainly grab 2 out of 6 of those here in the fall. Alabama will probably compete more than any other team for the title. They receive the other 4 votes for first place. And then starting it off with a little bit about the deciding class. The top 2 people in this class is Sydney Thorvaldson, the National Gatorade Player of the Year for track and field. A freshman from Wyoming, runs cross country, had the number 1 time in all of high school for the 300-meter dash, and that's long-distance racing, which exactly is cross country. She will definitely contribute this year. I also expect another signee, Carmi Prinsla from South Africa, a versatile runner who can run anything from the 800 to really a 3,000 or even further in terms of meters. And then you got Lauren Gregory. She placed 4th in the SEC last year, a time of 20 minutes, 6 seconds, and 0.6 milliseconds. And then other top 10 SEC placers that are returning is Logan Morris, Abby Gray, and Taylor Ewart. I see this team being really good. I expect a SEC championship just based off of how good the program is and the amount of returners we have from that championship year due to the COVID eligibility relief thing. Now for men's cross country, there's only 12 teams in the SEC. Arkansas received 11 out of 12 first place votes, and coaches can't vote for themselves, so it's kind of obvious what happened here. Everyone voted for Arkansas except the Arkansas coach. It was their first cross-country title last year since 2017. And in that SEC championship, there is everybody in the top 10, 5 people returning for another year. So that's Emmanuel Chebison, Jacob McLeod, Gilbert Boyd, Andrew Kibbett, and Matt Young. Emmanuel was 2nd, McLeod 3rd, Boyd 7th, Kibbett 8th, and Young 9th. The opening for both of these teams is a 6K at Mizzou on September 3rd, next Friday. So best of luck to those teams and all of the teams we talked about today. I'll be back at you on Monday. I'm bringing a preview of the secondary here at Arkansas, talking about defensive backs, which are the corners, safeties, and then nickelback, which will probably be Greg Brooks. But save that for later. As you know, signing off, Whoopig Suey.
That's all for today's episode of All Hog Sports with Sam Stimson. Make sure to stay tuned for the next episode covering all Arkansas Razorback sports. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on social media too. On Twitter and Instagram at All Hog Sports Pod. Like on Facebook at All Hog Sports and Arkansas Razorbacks Podcast. And on YouTube at that same name. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Go Hogs!